Let's move on to inflation. This was an absolutely surreal moment. President Biden on the South Lawn of the White House holds a multi-thousand people party. Every group who's ever existed in Democratic politics is there. He's uniting everyone for the success of the Inflation Reduction Act. It's on Tuesday afternoon. At the very same moment that the president is talking about how the Inflation Reduction Act is going to reduce inflation, it comes out after the CPI came in hotter than was expected, and as the Dow is dropping over 1,000 points. It really is one of the most surreal moments that you'll ever see. For those who are just listening, just keep in mind, while you're listening to this, there is a Dow ticker in the bottom right corner of the screen, which just continues to show market activity as Biden talks. Let's take a listen.
This couldn't have happened without every single one of you, and that's in the literal sense in the Senate. Every single one was required because the other team didn't want to play. And all our distinguished guests, CEOs, advocates, activists, thank you for joining us. And what a great day. Exactly 4 weeks ago today, I signed the Inflation Reduction Act into law.
So it's just right, classic Biden, he's got the aviators on. He seems to think that when he puts those aviators on, he becomes 35 years old again. It's like, that's not quite how it works, but so he puts the glasses on, the Dow is dropping 1,300 points there.
Well, smart programming there from Fox News too. I mean, they didn't miss the chance to
I think they actually had it up all day.
Ticker.
To their credit, they actually did have that up, and Biden just happened to, at the same time, like, would you pull it off? No.
I mean, they're smart at what they're doing.
And so Biden also puts out this incredibly foolish statement at the exact same time. Let's put this up there from the White House in reaction. He says, today's data shows more progress in bringing global inflation down in the U.S. economy. Overall, prices have been essentially flat in our country these last 2 months. That is welcome news. Gas is down an average of $1.30 a gallon. It will take more time and resolve to bring inflation down, which is why we passed the Inflation Reduction Act to lower the cost of healthcare, prescription drug, and energy. My economic plan, blah, blah, blah. So again, he's trying to seize on the success of the Inflation Reduction Act. As we saw, look, the core inflation number did go up by 0.1%, and the reason why was specifically food and shelter. And when those two things are going up, the Inflation Reduction Act, by the way, has zero impact on food prices and on shelter costs, right? So the two things, and I think another thing we should underscore is inflation went up despite the fact that gas prices went down by 10% in a month, which means those had to be so high in those commiserate categories that the overall number is still there. So the pressure remains on families. His point is not technically incorrect, right? Which is that year over year inflation went from 8.4 to 8.3. So year over year, it dropped by 0.1%, but it's still up 8.3%. It's a really tough one. I
think it's so foolish when presidents try to sell a picture of the economy to the American people.
Which is just fake.
Right. And I don't think it lands. I don't think it's persuasive. I don't think it's smart for them politically. You know, he could have used this moment to point to, look, gas prices are coming down. That's great. It's not nearly enough. And we still have these other problems that my administration is planning to address through X, Y, and Z measures. We passed the Inflation Reduction Act. That's going to help in these key areas. But to try to, say, but this shows we're making progress, it's like, nah, it doesn't really do that. And clearly, the markets were in free fall, largely because of what they expect now the Fed is going to do, which is to continue with a very aggressive direction in terms of rate hikes, which now, and we'll get to this in a minute, some analysts are saying they may not just do 75 basis points, they may do a full 100 basis points, so that's why the market is in free fall. But yeah, this report was a bad report. We covered it as breaking news here because it was higher than what the expectation was. The expectation was like, okay, it's going to tick down a little bit and we're going to be headed in generally the right direction. And instead it's like, no, actually it ticked up a little bit and we're still headed in the wrong direction. And to not have some of that reality seep in and have this just total celebratory, congratulatory tone in the remarks is off.
What's annoying too is that Americans are still very concerned about inflation. However, remember what we covered a couple of days ago. Because the inflation is so highly tied with people's minds in gas, they still actually feel better about the economy than they did 3 months ago.
Correct.
So inflation can, quote, cool, because it is technically cooling, right? 8.4 to 8.3, not year over year jumps of like 7.5 to 8.5, but it can still be bad. Like, it's all just about trying to fit the vibe. The vibe is that people aren't feeling as bad as they were 4 months ago when gas, or 3 months ago when gas was $5 a gallon.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're like super happy about it.
Yeah, they also don't feel like mission accomplished.
Yeah, and it's like trying to declare the mission accomplished moment is just really foolish. And so to have the split screen like that, I do think there's a tremendous political viability in the future.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.